What's happening, guys? It's been a while since my last video. Life kind of just happened. I moved house, became a dad for the second time, got a super bad haircut. All of this took all of my time, but I'm committed and I'm back and ready to bring you some great content. Before we get into today's video about the RX 6600 XT and if you should even care about a new graphics card launching right now, please consider subscribing and hitting that like button at the end of the video just to show some support. I would appreciate it. So we have received a little bit more info on AMD's new RX 6600 XT 8GB Navi 23 graphics card. Apparently it's going to feature a single fan. This is not going to be on the board partners. I don't think any board partner will have a single fan unless it's like a ITX type graphics card, you know, those tiny little things. The TDP on this graphics card is also rumored to be anything between 100 to 180 watt, which is quite a big difference in watt. I mean, there's a big difference in cooling needed to cool a 100 watt card versus a 180 watt card. But that's not total board power. We won't go down that line now, but for now, there's a bit discrepancy there. There seems to be a render online of this graphics card that kind of looks like that, which is quite strange because I've also seen another so-called render of this card looking like this, but it doesn't have a obvious PCIe Express slots or the the golden fingers that it actually slots into your board. So this is quite interesting. Someone must have mentioned it because later the creator says that he made the PCIe connector and proper IO shield. If you follow that link there, it will show you the concept of this card and what it could potentially look like. I'm not really interested in what the cards look like at launch. I'm more interested in not at launch, but what the cards look like from AMD and their reference design. I'm more interested in what it looks like from board partners like Asus and Gigabyte and MSI and all these other big companies. Another thing I wanted to show you guys, which I thought was quite funny. This is Microcenter's website on AMD cards, okay? So their advice when buying a graphics card, selecting the best graphics card. Typically, AMD graphics cards are more affordable but can require some modification or regular maintenance to keep working as intended. On the other hand, Nvidia graphics cards function much like video game consoles and essentially work in a plug-and-play fashion. Now, hang on just a minute there. How much money did Nvidia have to pay to Microcenter to let them make a statement like this? I mean, it's absolutely false. There is no evidence supporting anything regarding that AMD requires more maintenance. Like, what do they mean by it requires more maintenance? Are you gonna just, I mean, I don't even have an example. Like, what are they trying to say here? It needs more maintenance. What maintenance does it need that Nvidia doesn't need? I mean, are we talking about dust, physical maintenance, driver maintenance? Because all of that is exactly the same across the board. And then they say it is more affordable, but requires modification. How can it be more affordable? What modifications are they talking about? What? And then Nvidia graphics card function much like video game consoles and essentially work in a plug-and-play fashion. Guys, if I'm missing something here, can you please comment and point me in the right direction, because in all my 32 years, that's how old I am, by the way, 32 years of gaming, well, I guess I didn't really game at 1 year old, did I? So anyway, the RX 6600 XT 8GB version. There's a lot of them confirmed already. Here is the whole lineup from Gigabyte, all featuring 8GB memory, which is fantastic. That memory is going to be running at a clock of 16 gigabits per second, which is a good memory clock, I suppose. It seems to be the same across the board on all the AMD lineup of the new RX 6000 series graphics cards. Anyways, not to be confused with the amount of GDDR6 memory that can be found on the different variant cards. A little disappointed in the 128-bit memory bus. I think it would have been great if they just kept it 192. Strange. TDP to be announced. Again, we're not 100% sure what the TDP would be. I think, and I'll show you just now, that it's going to be between 100 and 130 watts. And then the big question of MSRP. Now, there's no way of knowing what the MSRP is going to be at this stage, but having said that, we have a little bit of an indication, which I read just here now, of $299. Now, $299 will place it under the MSRP of the 3060 from Nvidia, but having said that, can you actually get a graphics card at that price at this point in time? The answer, obviously, no, you can't. So MSRP is kind of a touchy-feely right now. I think $299 is reasonable depending on the performance level that what you can get out of these cards. Now obviously this whole rumor, well, not really a rumor, we all know that the RX 6600 XT is going to launch eventually. This was part of the AMD, the CES 2021 conference that they had, and it was supposed to come first half of 2021. There's a little card there with the one fan, which everyone expected it to be the 6600 XT or the 6500 XT. So it would be a card of that. And we know, of course, that it is actually a graphics card because we have already seen the mobile version and the Pro version of the 6600. So it's definitely coming. We're just waiting for the desktop gaming variant of this graphic card to actually launch. Now, funny enough, it didn't show the power connector over there. It was incognito, but thanks to modern technology and some clever photo editing, I suppose, we could see that it's an 8-pin connector needed for the power, of course. So here we can see a little bit of rundown of the actual specs. It's 100 to 130 watt expected, which I agree with. If you go to Tech Power Up, this card is already in the database, but according to this, they're saying it could be 180 watt TDP, dual slot design, which is quite straightforward. 450 watt power supply needed, which I would say is roughly about right. Although if it's really a TDP of 180, I would bump that up to at least 550. Anyways, outputs, potentially we're looking at 1 HDMI and 2 display ports. None of this is confirmed yet. We're going to have to wait. And this will obviously differ on different board partners. So let's see what happens. We don't know yet. One thing that is worth mentioning, though, is the relative performance listed on Tech Power Up. This is quite interesting because it shows here it's 1% behind the 3060. Again, this is all theoretical, not proven, not benchmark at all. We need to get this card out into the wild so that someone somewhere can actually confirm these numbers. If it can manage to come even close to a 3060, this will be an amazing value for gamers right now. We'll get to can you buy it, should you buy it, all of that stuff in a little bit. Let's just get through what potential performance we can see out of this card. So let's say it's in line with the 3060. Okay, that's fantastic because this would basically be a replacement of the 5700 XT, which in turn is even better than one of the Radeon 7 cards, which is awesome. And the 1080 Ti, which is about 9% according to this better than the 3060, or 8% better than the 3060. So this is an interesting spot for the 6600 XT because how many gamers are still sitting on 1080 Ti's that, okay, having said that, you would need to jump to AMD from Nvidia, which a lot of Nvidia fans are just not going to do regardless. But having said that, if your 1080 Ti dies, there's a big possibility that if the 3060 is out of reach for whatever reason, that you could potentially replace it with a 6600 XT and not be too done in for, which is great. Even the 2070, all of these cards are in marginable differences of the 3060 and in turn the 6600 XT. Hopefully you guys might disagree with me or agree with me. Let me know in the comments below. I would love to know your thoughts. Again, this is not proper benchmarks yet. We're going to have to wait for somebody to actually get this card in hand. So should you be excited for the RTX 6600 XT from AMD? Yes, I am excited to see this card. I would say it's an entry to mid-range card if you're pushing it. A lot of guys would disagree with me that it's mid-range. I can see that it's not meant to be mid-range. I think the 6700 is supposed to be, not even the XT is supposed to be the mid-range offering from AMD, but this can slot in right between entry to mid-range if you can find one. I believe that the shortages of just electronic components, not just chips, but PCBs and VRMs and metal even, has become very scarce recently. So I believe that's the reason why they've pushed this back to, well, the second half of 2021, and therefore we can look forward to a proper launch soon. I don't think there's going to be a lot of these cards available. I think there's going to be massive demand because there's still guys looking to buy higher end cards that just can't get one, and guys are literally sitting with PCs and no graphics cards. So they'll just get what they can find now. They'll trample their granny to find one right now just to get some sort of gaming system up and running. If this card can live up to a 3060 and it can actually perform close to it, doesn't even have to beat it, it just needs to come close to it. And if you can find it for $299, I believe that this is an absolute steal, especially with the AMD Fidelity X super resolution that has finally launched. This is definitely an option, even if it's just for short term while you save up for your 3080 or 3090 or whatever other higher end card that you want to get eventually down the line. Thank you for watching this video, guys. I appreciate it as always. Hit the thumbs up if you liked it. You know what to do if you didn't, and maybe consider subscribing. I've got some pretty wonderful and weird videos coming up pretty soon. You don't want to miss out on that. And trying to build a little bit of a community here. So the Score channel coming up. We're going to have a website, probably a forum, lots of things down the line planned. So please just let me know. I'm always interested to hear what you guys think and open for suggestions and criticism, I suppose. Anyways, I will see you guys in the next video.